When a kind soul finally walks away, it's too late to fix things. The quiet strength of kindness. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone in your life who never gave up on you? Someone who stood by you at your worst, who saw the broken parts of you and chose to stay anyway? Maybe it was a friend, a partner, a family member, someone who loved you through your mistakes, through your bad days, through the moments when you didn't even love yourself. A kind soul doesn't love in halves. They don't give up easily. They pour their heart into people, not because they expect something back, but because it's simply who they are. They're the ones who check in even when you don't reply. The ones who remember the little things, the small details you forgot you even mentioned. The ones who pick up the phone at 2 a.m. when you need to talk. And when you hurt them, they don't leave right away. They stay. They forgive. They make excuses for you, telling themselves that maybe you didn't mean it, that maybe you'll change, that maybe one day you'll see them the way they've always seen you. But here's what most people don't understand about kind souls. Their patience is they won't yell. They won't fight for attention. They won't beg to be loved the way they deserve. They'll just start to fade. Slowly. At first you won't notice. They'll still smile, still listen, still be there. But something will shift. The warmth in their voice will dim. The light in their eyes, the one that once shined so brightly for you, will flicker. And one day, without warning, they'll be gone. Not because they stopped caring, but because they finally realized you did. And when they leave, they won't come back. Because when a kind soul finally walks away, it's not out of anger, it's not to teach you a lesson. It's because they have given every last piece of themselves trying to make things work. And when they're gone, that's when you'll understand, too late, what you lost. Because love given freely is a gift, but love taken for granted, that's a lesson. The signs you missed. At first, everything seems the same. They still answer your messages. They still laugh at your jokes. They still nod along when you talk about your day. But if you looked a little closer, you'd see the shift, the weight they carry, the quiet withdrawal hidden beneath the same familiar gestures. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts with a hesitation, a pause before they respond, a forced smile where there used to be effortless warmth. Then the small things begin to change. They stop asking how you slept, not because they don't care, but because they've realized you never asked them. They stop checking in when you've had a bad day, not because they stopped worrying, but because they finally understood that you never did the same for them. They stopped going out of their way to make you feel special, not because they no longer think you are, but because they finally see that you never made them feel the same, and still they hold on, because kind souls don't just walk away at the first sign of neglect. They give, and they give, and they give until they have nothing left. They convince themselves that maybe you're just busy. Maybe you don't realize what you're doing. Maybe if they just love you harder, show you more patience, give you more time, you'll finally see them the way they've always seen you. But time passes, and the truth begins to settle in. It isn't that you didn't have time, it's that you never made the time. It isn't that you didn't understand their value, it's that you assumed they would always be there. And something inside of them shifts. They start giving their best energy to people who notice. They start pouring their kindness into people who appreciate it. They stop trying so hard to hold on to a place in your life when it's clear they were the only ones fighting to be there. And the saddest part, you won't notice it happening because they don't slam doors, they don't make dramatic exits, they don't yell, they don't beg, they don't make you feel guilty, they just fade. Their texts become less frequent, their laughter less genuine, their presence less certain. And then one day they're gone, not out of anger, not to punish you, but because they finally realized something heartbreaking. Love should never have to be earned. Respect should never have to be begged for. And when someone truly matters to you, they should never have to question it. And once they learn that, they don't unlearn it. They just leave. And by the time you notice, by the time you understand, by the time you finally wake up to what they meant to you, it will be far, far too late. Because the kindest souls don't leave because they stopped loving you. They leave because they finally started loving themselves. And once they do that, they never look back. The unseen battles they fought. You'll never know how many nights they spent convincing themselves to stay. How many times they sat in silence, staring at their phone, debating whether to send that message, knowing deep down that you probably wouldn't respond the way they needed you to. How many times they swallowed their pain, telling themselves, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe I'm the problem. Because kind souls don't walk away easily. They fight. Not with their words, not with anger, not with ultimatums, but with their patience, their understanding, their endless capacity to believe in people. They fight with forgiveness, offering second chances, third chances, chances they never should have given in the first place. They fight with hope, with the belief that if they just hold on a little longer, things will change. That if they just love you hard enough, you'll finally see them the way they've always seen you. But hope is heavy, and carrying the weight of one-sided love for too long, it breaks even the strongest hearts. They fought for you in ways you'll never understand. They defended you when others told them to walk away. They made excuses for your indifference, convincing themselves that you were just bad at expressing emotions, not bad at caring. They ignored their own needs, thinking that if they were just good enough, you'd eventually realize how much they meant to you. But there comes a moment, one quiet, heartbreaking moment, where they can't do it anymore, where they realize that the love they've been giving so freely has never been seen, let alone cherished, where they understand that staying isn't loyalty, it's self-betrayal. And that's the moment everything changes. Not with a fight, not with a dramatic goodbye, but with a shift, a quiet internal knowing that no matter how much they love you, they can't keep losing themselves in the process. And so they begin to let go, not because they want to, but because they have to. At first, you won't even notice. You'll think they're just busy, that they're going through something, that they'll be back when things settle down, but things won't settle. Because this time, they're not just pulling away for a moment, they're leaving for good. And when you finally realize what's happening, when you finally feel the emptiness where their love used to be, it will hit you like a wave you never saw coming, because they never asked for much. They never needed grand gestures, expensive gifts, or elaborate words. They just wanted to feel chosen, to feel like they mattered as much to you as you did to them, to feel like staying was a choice, not a sacrifice. But by the time you understand that, by the time you finally see what they were trying to tell you all along, they'll already be gone. Because once a kind soul walks away, they don't come back. Not because they don't love you anymore, but because they finally learn to love themselves more. And that's a lesson they'll never unlearn. The day they decide enough is enough, there's always a final moment. It's not loud, it's not explosive, it doesn't come with shouting matches or broken dishes. It happens in silence, a quiet realization, a single heartbreaking thought that settles deep into their soul. I can't do this anymore. It's not a decision made in anger. It's not made in haste. It's made after exhaustion, after every last ounce of love, patience, and hope has been wrung from their heart. Because when a kind soul walks away, it's never on a whim. It happens after years of self-sacrifice, after countless second chances, after so many silent battles, you never even notice them fighting. It happens when they look in the mirror and no longer recognize themselves, when they realize they have spent so much time loving you that they forgot how to love themselves. And that's the moment when they choose to save themselves instead. At first, you won't even notice. They won't slam doors. They won't scream or cry or demand that you change. They'll simply stop trying. They'll stop being the first to reach out. They'll stop making excuses for your neglect. They'll stop holding space for someone who never truly held space for them. And the worst part, you won't even see it coming because you assumed they'd always be there. You assumed their patience was limitless, that no matter how many times you pushed them away, they'd always return with open arms. You assumed their love was unconditional, and it was. But unconditional love does not mean unconditional endurance. Even the kindest soul has limits. Even the most forgiving heart has a breaking point. And when they finally reach it, when they realize that staying is only breaking them further, there's nothing left to do but leave. Not to punish you, not to hurt you, but because they finally understand that love should never feel like begging to be seen. By the time you realize what's happening, it's already too late. You'll feel the shift, the sudden distance, the absence of their warmth, the weight of silence where their love used to be. And at first you'll tell yourself it's temporary, that they just need space, that they'll come back like they always do. But then days turn into weeks, and you realize they're really gone. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally. The door is closed, and for the first time, you'll understand what they meant to you. You'll see the places in your life where they used to exist, where their love once lived, and you'll feel the unbearable emptiness they left behind, and you'll want to reach out. You'll want to tell them you're sorry, that you didn't mean to hurt them, that you didn't realize what you were losing, but they won't answer. Not because they hate you, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because they've finally learned a truth you failed to see. The person who truly loves you will never make you feel like you have to fight to be valued. And once they learn that, they never forget it. They never go back. Because the day a kind soul finally walks away is the day they choose themselves for the first time in a long, long time. The shock of their absence. At first you won't believe it. You'll tell yourself it's just a phase, that they just need time, that they're testing you, waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to chase them. But kind souls don't play games. They don't leave to make a statement. They leave because they have nothing left to give. And when they go, they don't make a scene. They don't slam doors or write long messages filled with anger and resentment. They just disappear. And it's only in their absence that you begin to feel the weight of what you've lost. At first, it's just small things. The good morning texts that used to be waiting for you when you woke up, gone. The random check-ins throughout the day, just to make sure you were okay, silent. The way they always remembered the little things, your favorite coffee, your bad days, the songs that made you smile, nothing. And for a while, you won't understand. You'll convince yourself that they're just busy, that life got in the way, that any day now they'll reach out again, just like they always did. But days turn into weeks, and the silence stretches, and the truth starts to sink in. They're not coming back, and that's when it really hits you. You see, their absence isn't just about the things they did for you. It's about the space they filled in your life, the warmth, the security, the quiet reassurance that no matter how hard your day was, you had someone in your corner. And now that space is empty. The weight of their love, once so steady, is gone. And in its place is something unfamiliar. Loneliness, regret, a feeling you can't quite name, but one that gnaws at you in the quiet moments. Because now, for the first time, you understand. They weren't just someone who existed in your life. They were the glue holding parts of it together. And without them, everything feels just a little colder, a little quieter, a little less. You'll try to fill the void. You'll scroll through old messages, rereading words you didn't appreciate when they were first sent. You'll revisit memories, trying to pinpoint the exact moment they started slipping away. You'll go to text them, only to realize that for the first time, you're the one reaching out. But when you finally press send, there's no reply. Because when a kind soul walks away, they don't leave room for you to pull them back. They don't wait by the phone, hoping you'll finally see their worth. They don't keep the door open just in case you decide you're ready to treat them right. They close it for good, not because they hate you, but because they finally realized they should have never had to beg to be loved in the first place. And once they understand that, there's no turning back. It's the realization that you had something rare, something real, something people spend lifetimes searching for, and you let it slip through your fingers. At first, you tell yourself it's not too late. You'll reach out. You'll say the right words. You'll tell them you've changed. Because surely, they still care. They always did, didn't they? They always forgave, always came back, always gave you one more chance. So you type the message. You sit there staring at it, and before you press send, a thought enters your mind, one so sharp, so painful, it makes your hands shake. What if they don't reply? Because this time feels different. You send it anyway, and you wait, and it makes a house day. And that's when you realize the person who once dropped everything for you, who answered every call, who always found the time, no matter how busy they were, doesn't anymore. And that's when it truly hits you. This isn't distance, this isn't space, this is final, because kind souls don't leave doors half open. When they walk away, they close them, not out of anger, not to punish you, but because they've finally learned that their love the love they gave so freely, deserved to be met with the same effort, and yours never was. And now, regret is your only companion. It lingers in the empty space where they used to be. It follows you into the quiet moments, whispering all the things you should have said when you had the chance. It reminds you that they never needed much, not perfection, not grand gestures, just effort, just consistency, just a sign that they mattered to you as much as you mattered to them. And now the only thing left to give them is too little, too late. Because while you were assuming they'd always be there, they were learning how to live without you. And now they're happy. Not in the way they pretended to be when they were with you. Not in the way they used to, smile through their disappointment, hoping one day you'd wake up and see them. No, this happiness is different. It's real. It's lighter. It's with someone who doesn't need to lose them to understand their worth. And you're left watching from the outside, carrying the weight of what you lost. Because the cruelest thing about regret, it never lets you forget, and it never gives you a second chance. The life they build without you, at first it's just a glimpse. Maybe a mutual friend mentions their name in passing. Maybe you see a photo of them smiling, a real effortless kind of smile, the kind you don't remember seeing in the last days they spent with you. Maybe you scroll past something they posted, their words full of life, of peace, of a happiness that no longer includes you. And for a moment, your heart clenches, because this isn't how it was supposed to be. They were supposed to struggle without you. They were supposed to miss you so much it hurt. They were supposed to reach out, to wonder what you were doing, to feel the same weight of loss you've been carrying since the day they left. But they don't. They've moved on. And not just moved on, but thrived. And that realization, it shatters you. You tell yourself it's not real, that they're just pretending, that their laughter, their joy, their glow, it's just a mask, a performance. Because how could they be happy without you when you're still here, drowning in regret? How could they let go so easily when you can't seem to shake their absence, no matter how hard you try? And so you watch as they become everything you didn't appreciate when they were yours. You watch as they pour their love, their kindness, their unwavering loyalty into someone who sees it, someone who cherishes it the way you never did. And that's when the truth finally sinks in. They weren't the ones who lost something. You were. And now you're forced to sit with it, to sit with the knowledge that while you assumed they'd always be there, they were slowly learning how to be okay without you. That while you were too busy taking them for granted, they were discovering a world that valued them in ways you never did. That while you were expecting them to wait, they were already walking away. And by the time you understood, it was too late. Because by now, they've outgrown the version of themselves that once begged for your love. They've healed the wounds they once thought only you could fix. They've built a life so full, so beautiful, that there's no longer any room for the person who made them feel like they had to fight to be loved. And you're left standing in the ruins of what could have been, haunted by the realization that the person who once fought for you with everything they had won't even look back. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but because they simply don't need to anymore. Because when a kind soul finally chooses themselves, they never regret it. The only one who does is you, the lesson left behind. Regret is a cruel teacher. It doesn't scream, it doesn't rush. It teaches you slowly, painfully, through the moments when you catch yourself reaching for someone who is no longer there, through the nights when the silence feels heavier than it ever did before, through the memories that replay like a song stuck in your head, their voice, their laughter, the way they always looked at you like you were worth something. And now that look belongs to someone else. You'll want to fix it. You'll want to reach out to say all the things you should have said when they were still listening, to promise you've changed, to swear that this time you'll do better. But by now, you know the truth. They're not waiting for you anymore. They stopped waiting the day they realized love shouldn't feel like a one-sided fight. They stopped waiting when they finally understood that staying wasn't strength, it was self-betrayal. And now, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, it won't matter. Because the version of them that once longed for your love doesn't exist anymore. And so you're left with a lesson that will follow you into your next relationships, into every interaction where you hesitate just a little too long, remembering what happens when you assume a kind soul will stay forever. You'll find yourself treating people differently, not because you suddenly became a better person, but because you now understand what happens when you don't. But it won't change the past. It won't bring them back. Because once a kind soul walks away, they don't return. Not out of hate, not out of resentment, but because they finally learn the most important lesson of all, that the right person will never make them question their worth. And once they learn that, they never forget it. Epilogue, the final thought. If you take nothing else from this, take this. Love is not owed, it is nurtured. No one, no matter how kind, no matter how patient, no matter how deeply they care, will stay in a place where they feel unseen. A kind soul will give you everything. They will show up for you when no one else does. They will believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. They will hold space for you, fight for you, choose you, even on your worst days. But love is not an unlimited resource. And the moment they realize they are fighting alone, they will stop. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Because the hardest thing a kind soul will ever learn is that sometimes love alone is not enough. And by the time you realize what you lost, by the time you truly understand the depth of what they gave you, it will be too late. So if you have someone in your life who loves you with that kind of depth, don't wait until they're gone to appreciate them. See them now. Cherish them now, because once they walk away, they never come back.